It's wild how we'll see something wrong, feel it in our chest, and still say nothing. That silence, low key louder than the truth. Welcome back to Not So Lowkey, not your average mic check, not your average conversation. And today we're breaking down the price of silence, why so many of us hold our tongue when it matters the most. You know the vibes. Let's get into it. Me personally, I feel like silence is really underrated. And certain people want you to speak up or be an extrovert when in reality, being an introvert and being real quiet and reserved might be the best thing out there. You don't have to deal with unwanted or unwarranted opinions. You don't got to deal with that toxicity that's consistently cycling around. Or you don't even have to deal with the fact that there may be red flags that you're noticing in people and you're just allowing it to slide by. Because in reality, you're allowing your life and your situation to be simple. And you're never going to allow that to get complicated. But there's certain people that feel like within group chats, they may say something or they may drop a bomb or drop like some sort of information in there. And it's crazy off. It's probably even violating what you may believe in. And you decide to stay quiet or nobody in the chat checks it. That act of silence is protecting your peace. And that's important. Next is like workplace or even just walking around in the mall. You may see something, you may hear something that you definitely don't agree with. And you're just tolerating it because you know what? I need my job, I need my money. Or you're like, I don't have time to go back and forth with somebody. I'm out in public. Let me save my image, save my face. That's important too. But it's a constant thing. So silence to me is definitely golden. It's something that I value a lot. I'm not somebody that goes out there openly and speaks up on situations that bother me. But if you get me to that point, I'll definitely talk about it. So it's wild how we'll see something wrong, feel it in our chest, and still say nothing. That silence, low key louder than the truth. It is because if I know something's wrong and I know something that I could do about it or I can even say that's gonna adjust the outcome of it, I might as well just go out there and say it. I might as well just go out there and speak up and be that person that dang he stood up for them. I might as well because what is there to lose? But there's a lot to lose. The wild part about it is if I decide to open my mouth or engage or put myself in that situation, what if there's no coming back? What if there's no turning around? What if that person that I decided to interact with ends up choosing that's the day they want to do something crazy? Now I put myself in a situation when I could have just stayed quiet. You may look at it as, dang, that's soft, like you got to man up, but I'm really protecting myself because I know how I can get. Some people may say I'm a low key crash out just due to the fact that I stay quiet and I'm so reserved, so laid back that you never really seen me respond or react in a certain way. But trust me, I can get there. So, a few of these questions that I got for this little intro is: would you rather laugh along to keep the peace or be someone who calls it out? I'm laughing along to keep the peace. I don't even want to deal with the nonsense. I'll do a little fake giggle, fake laugh, get you out my face, keep it pushing. But there's some people that they're going to definitely be the person that calls everybody out. And that's because they don't care for the fact that it could lead to something. They need their voice to be heard. They need to be heard. They need to get it off their chest. And those type of people tend to find themselves in more situations than most. Just due to the fact that you could have just let it go. You could have kept it pushing. You didn't really have to open up and say 10,000 things just to get your point across or say a few more things so that person feels a certain type of way or insecure with what they decided to do. In reality, sometimes keeping quiet, best thing out there. So let me see. What hurts more in a relationship? Saying too much or saying nothing at all? Me personally, I think it's gonna hurt if you say too much, because if you're saying so much, that means you want the person to change or you want them to change their character. Why did you get with them in the first place? If you see all these issues when you guys were just talking, why didn't you speak up on it from the jump, or why didn't you walk away from that? Because now you're with that person and you're listing all these things and you're taking hits at their character. What you want them to do? Change how they are? That's not fair. They're not asking you to change, but you're expecting somebody else to change because that's something that you're not used to, you're not able to tolerate. That's raw. That's real wrong. So I think it's definitely harder to say nothing at all, but it's definitely going to hurt more if you say too much. Saying nothing at all and allowing all these red flags and things that you're noticing go unheard of and unspoken on is going to hurt, because now you're looking at yourself, looking in the mirror 5 years down, and you're like, dang, I let this slide for so long. Now, if I say something, it's going to be like, you never said anything about this before. You got to pick your battles. Sometimes silence is good, but sometimes it's also the same knife that's going to stab you in the back. Let me see. At work, would you rather keep quiet and keep your job or speak up and risk it? I'm somebody that's definitely going to keep quiet, just because I don't need to get myself into anything. I don't need to give out that energy and speak on a billion other things. I'm definitely somebody that is going to be real reserved. You know what? You said this and that. All right, you got it. You got it. Just get out of my face and I keep it pushing. The people that need to say something back or always have a response, those are the people that find themselves sitting in the office, getting write ups, getting conduct conversations. It's not worth it. This is where your money at. At the end of the day, these people are not coming home with you. They could say a billion things about you, say things behind your back. As long as they're not saying it to your face, talking about your family or even like your significant other, it's not worth it. Like real talk. You don't got to worry about X, Y, and Z because I got the dollar signs coming in. If the dollar sign's not coming in and you talking to me and you talking crazy, that's a different situation. If you got me out there in the street and you talking crazy in front of me, then I could probably give you a little more leeway when it's like, all right, now I gotta check you. Now I gotta respond back to you. But even in those situations, not everybody deserves your energy. Keep that to yourself. Keep it reserved. But here's the thing: silence doesn't just vanish. It stacks up, and the cost hits way harder than we want to admit. Me personally, I always feel like silence is a safe place because you avoid conflict, you could even avoid rejection, and you could even just know for the fact that you have enough self confidence to stand by yourself. And even if nobody's on your side, you're okay with that. I think being silent is something that is so underrated because everybody wants to be an extrovert. Everybody wants to be in the mix. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be heard. But when you're seen and when you're heard, you may end up building that extroverted conscience and that all that extra confidence. But some of the cost is you're in a repeated cycle, toxic environments, constantly having engagements that you don't really want to have. So I could deal with being silent. I could deal with keeping to myself. Yeah, it may lead to repeated cycle of toxic energy because I'm not speaking up on stuff, or missed opportunities, missed chances because I decided not to speak up on or raise my hand and be like, yeah, I want that for me. That's understandable. That's also real. But I'd rather miss that opportunity because whatever the man above wants for me, I'm gonna have. I can't deny that. So if that wasn't for me, it wasn't for me. I'll miss that opportunity. But I know he got something better for me. Or even me staying quiet, I may end up having a lot of resentment towards somebody because I should have just spoke up. I should have spoke my opinion. I should have told you this was on my mind when it was on my mind. But how I look at it and like how I grew up for real, life is simple. We complicate it. I don't got time for that. I'll deal with the resentment. It's gonna go away. You may have bothered me. You may have said something that really gets under my skin. You know what? I'm gonna forgive you. I'm not gonna forget, but I'm gonna forgive you. I just don't gotta speak to you, and that's real. I think acknowledging that is bigger than saying, you know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna clap back and I'm gonna say this and that to them. Not even worth it, because at the end of the day, what are you gaining from it? You got it off your chest. Maybe you had a little scuffle. Now you in a situation like when you was in high school or middle school, you had a little scuffle, getting suspended, it's whatever. Now you could really go to jail. Domestic violence, charge it. It's not worth it. Now you got a record. You possibly can lose your job. Not worth it. Sometimes silence is key. Try to tell you. Let's break it down even further. The small. Everyday ways silence sneaks in when we least expect it. We got a few things, honestly. Why? Why do we shame or throw so much hate at whistleblowers more than the people causing the harm? I feel like if you're somebody that is definitely speaking up and maybe even going back and snitching or speaking up for the greater good, we shouldn't be downplaying you or looking at you in a negative light. You have the courage to speak up. And I'm not condoning snitching, but at the same time, if you protected my peace because I'm not speaking up on it, I respect you a lot more. But if you're somebody that just snitching just to snitch, that's where you definitely a rat. Like, get out my face. I can't tolerate you. Is staying quiet in a friendship loyalty or cowardice? I feel like that's cowardice because I feel like if you really in a friendship or even like a relationship, your friend or your partner would never judge you for what you got to say. And I might be wrong. But even if they do judge you, it's coming from a place of love and they'll tell you straight up. They won't cut you off and talk to you or talk negative to you. I don't think that's actual friendship. That's kind of wild. So when you tell yourself it's not worth it, how often is that a lie? I feel like it could be pretty often. Sometimes you be like, it's not worth it just due to the fact that, you know, I don't want to deal with that. It's not worth it. In reality, take that opportunity. You miss all the shots you don't take. So it may not be worth it right there in that instant, but you never really know. Sometimes you just gotta take a shot and go with the flow. So what's harder, speaking in the moment or living with regret? Me personally, I think living with regret is way harder and it's probably gonna hurt more. But the more rational thing to do is speaking in the moment just due to the fact that it's important to get a lot of those things off your chest. It's important for you to say, you know what, I have to say this because if I don't say this, it's gonna stack up and I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm having too many negative days, too many negative opinions. I need to tighten up. I need to readjust myself and revamp because if I'm allowing all of this to slide, who knows what's gonna happen next. So sometimes, yeah, you really do gotta speak up. Is silence protection or complicity? I think it's a little bit of both because I think being silent, you do protect your peace. And that's something that not too many people have. Not too many people say, you know, I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with my surroundings. I'm at peace just in general. A lot of people nowadays are really negative and they have a lot of negative energy around them. They don't want to see anybody prosper. They just, that's weird energy. I ain't gonna lie. And then when you look at it, like complicity, and I don't think it's complicity. It might just be protection, honestly. Let me see. Would you rather lose someone because you spoke up, or keep them but you never say how you really feel? I'm gonna lose you because I spoke up respectfully, and it takes a lot for me to speak up. I'm gonna tolerate a lot. I'm gonna tolerate everything you have to say. I'm gonna tolerate everything you do. I'm gonna let it slide. I may view it as, you know what, this is their first time doing it. They don't really know how I feel, and I'll give you a little subliminal, tell you a little bit, and that's probably my issue. I'm not gonna be direct. I'm gonna throw a subliminal because I'm thinking about your feelings. But on the other hand, definitely has to say something. Definitely have to tell you, like, this is something that has to happen. Because if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna keep feeling this way, and I'm gonna end up walking away. If I'm mentally tapped out, it's a bad thing. Emotionally, it's gonna take way longer for me to get tapped out because I do care for you. But once I get mentally tapped out, oh, it's raps. Let me see. What stings more? A friend who lies to you, or a friend who stays silent when you needed them? It depends on the lie, respectfully. Because you may lie to me to protect me or help me out. Like, for me at least, when I was in high school, I was with somebody, and a lot of my friends ain't like me with that person. And the moment it clicked was after I graduated and I was no longer with the person, and everybody came to me and they were like, I'm so glad you weren't with that person anymore. Like, you left, like, you guys are done. It was like, why didn't y'all tell me when I was in that situation? Like, if you didn't like me in that situation, I have no problem with you coming to me and saying, like, yo, I don't think that's for you. Like, you need to tighten up. You got to notice this and that that's going on. I respect that. You feel me? Like, I'm not going to be somebody that is going to be like, oh, don't talk to me about my girl. Like, nah, if you see something that I'm not seeing and something's going on behind my back, you call it out and you tell me, that's respect. That's love. But yeah, so I think everybody was kind of sort of like lying to me when they said like, "Oh yeah, I love y'all together," and in reality, they wanted me to leave. They're like, "You doing so much and you doing X, Y, and Z, but your partner's not doing enough for you." And I wasn't looking at it like that. I was like, as a guy, you gotta provide, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But nah, it was draining. I ain't gonna hold you. It was draining. So I think a friend who lies to you is definitely gonna hurt or sting a lot more. But depending on what it is, you can't really be too mad at them. But a friend that stays silent, I don't think any of my friends will ever stay silent. Because as soon as I got out of that situation, they definitely confronted me, came to me, checked me, talked to me, made sure I was straight, all in the same time, telling me about myself. Like, oh, why would you stay in that situation? Why would you allow yourself to be there that long? So I feel like it's either or. It's like a teeter totter. But I'd rather somebody that tell me what it is. Like, just, you know what? Tell me. So if you lying to me and you my friend, you're not really my friend. But if you staying silent when I really needed you, you're not really my friend either. But I think you have certain people that will stay silent in the moment to protect you, and they'll try to see if you're gonna figure it out and check if you could pick yourself back up if you fall. But you also have those people that they'll tell you right away. And I ain't gonna hold you. I'd rather allow my friends or anybody I'm dealing with or I know to. I prefer it if you let me fall, check if I pick myself back up. But if you see I'm struggling, then you come in and you talk to me. I respect that a lot more because you gave me an opportunity to try to grow. And that's important. What is tougher, defending yourself or defending someone else in a moment? I think defending somebody else is harder in the moment just due to the fact you may know that person, or even if you don't know that person, they put themselves in a situation where it's like, why would you say that? Or why would you do that? And now I'm defending you and not knowing your reason behind it. is really the problem. So you're somebody that, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna react like this, or you pretty much you're a certified crash out. Now I'm over here trying to defend you. In reality, it could have been taken care of in a way simpler manner. But due to the fact that you're a certified crash out, you're allowing yourself to get to that point, and I don't think it's fair. So it may be harder defending someone else in a moment just because of the situation, but defending yourself could be pretty hard too. As much as you stand your ground and stand on business, and you feel like whatever you got going on is pretty valid, defending yourself isn't something that's easy just because you may be somebody that's really considerate and caring to what other people got to say or how other people feel, and you don't want to come off as a jerk. You don't want to come off as somebody that's inconsiderate. You want to come off as somebody that is super conceited. That's all accurate, but you got to stand up for yourself. So defending someone else in the moment is definitely harder. And here's where I land on this: silence feels safe until it costs you more than your voice ever would. The truth may sting, but so does regret. And at the end of the day, I think you would rather live with the regret than live with the silence, because regret is only something that's there for a moment, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, once you fully get that off your chest and you fully express yourself, you're not going to have any regret. You may feel it for a little bit, maybe a day or two, or it could be even prolonged a little bit more than that, but you're never going to sit down deeply and have that regret. Because, like, what is there really to regret with anything you do? You were fully aware of what you were doing, why you were doing it. I don't think anybody truly lives with regret. I think regret is something that's there to allow yourself to think and analyze and process what you were doing and why you did it in that moment. But I don't believe that anybody truly has regret, because you were fully aware and in control of what you were doing. What's there to regret? Oh, you did something that was crazy? Yeah, I did it. I wanted that experience. There's nothing to regret. So this week, catch one moment where you normally stay quiet and speak up. It doesn't have to be the biggest thing that you speaking up on. You just got to be honest. Pay attention for real. Does doing that make you feel way better? Does it make a moment feel way better? Like, let me know. Drop that down below in the chat. That's your mic check. You know the vibes. Keep it real. Keep it not so low key. We out.